Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Ketchadori.
Hello and welcome back to another very special episode. And with me today is Diane Helbig, an amazing woman who's out there helping entrepreneurs just like you master the art of selling. Did you know that selling is not the best way of going after your clients? The best way is being curious, really want to know what your prospects want, and then you provide them the solution without all these strategies that you hear, or again, the tactics that you hear. Just be there and follow the process. And with me today, Diana is going to show you exactly how you can stay curious, close deals, or create relationship and get that sale that you truly want. Diana, thanks again for joining us here on the show for the first time. I'm pumped to have you here today.
I am thrilled to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It's always a joy when I get a fellow podcaster on my show to talk about things that actually help people, because I know as well as you do that the thing that keeps people coming back to our show is sharing what is working right now. Not, in 2020 or way back, what's working today. And I know that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm so excited about today.
Me too.
It's awesome. Now, I know you have accomplished a lot of things. In fact, I was looking at your profile, Diana. You've won several awards. You've spoken on many platforms. In fact, globally, really, you have helped a lot of people. I could be here for a long time, but I want you to share maybe two things that you feel a lot of people need to know about you, about your achievement, about your goals, that perhaps people hardly talk about.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna talk about goals. Really, my biggest goal, and the reason why I started my business and wrote my book and do my podcast and all those things, is because I really want to get as much information in front of small business owners so that they can pick the things that they need so that they can realize the results and the success that they want, that they define. So I believe everyone is individual. They've got their needs. They've got what they're working on. And if I can help them pull in some strategies and tactics that then they can implement and do better things and be happier, then that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Oh, love that. Diana is an author of Succeed Without Selling, Lemonade Stand, Selling and Experts Insight, and is the host of Accelerate Your Business Growth. And if you want to know how to accelerate your business, you want to tune in to this special podcast, which also won an award, and you will get to hear from other amazing people on her podcast. Let's dive deep into selling here today. How long have you been helping people with their sales strategies? And also, how long have you been in the business itself?
I have had my business since 2006. I helped people with sales before that because I did a lot of training of the people who worked with me in sales departments during my career. But I started my business in early 2006, so 16 years.
Yes, I know it's an interesting story. This was as after the unfortunate incident, your dad passed away, and you found yourself in a place where you felt like you wanted to contribute a lot more. Share that story. I think it's quite important for people to understand how you ended up doing what you're doing.
Thank you for that. So yes, my father passed away pretty suddenly. We weren't really expecting it, and it was a turning point for me. Through conversations with my brother and sister, one of the things we were talking about was wanting to do something that had more of an impact on the universe, where we were giving something more than what we had been doing. I was in sales at the time. Right. And I got a lot of feedback from people. My sister thought I should be a marriage counselor. My best friend thought I should be a life coach. And so I started doing some research and realized that really I should be a business coach. because I had all of these years of experience in leadership and sales. And I had watched businesses, business owners struggle with things that I didn't really think they needed to be struggling with. It broke my heart. And I thought, I can help these people.
That's right.
And that's what I want to do. And so that's the road I took.
Well, I'm glad you did, because you've helped a lot of people, and you and I were talking about this couple earlier on, that you truly transformed their business were in the rock, so to speak, rock bottom, and you helped them, come out of those dark times. Do you mind sharing that story and some of the achievements you've made, and then we dive deep into talking about sales?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been fortunate to have clients in all different industries all over the world. And when they struggle with sales, which most small business owners do, if they weren't salespeople before, it's my belief that what they need is a process that they will implement.
That's right.
Right? They're not going to do it the way I do it, but there are certain things you have to do in sales. How you do them is going to have a lot to do with who you are and who your prospect base is and things like that. So I've been really fortunate to help a lot of small business owners, one in particular that we were talking about, where what we did was we took a look at who her clients were that she really liked working with, what was she doing for them, how did she get them, where'd they come from, and then we created a process and a system specific to her that she could implement that was comfortable for her to go get more of those kinds of clients. And it's around not telling but asking. And when you know what the fit is, then that's what you want to find out. You don't want to push. You just want to find out, is this company or this person, do they fit this model? And we did it, and she ended up with so many client engagements that she had to bring in subcontractors to help her get the work done. So it's pretty successful.
I absolutely love that story, because it touches on something that I think all business owners need to understand, and it is this: there are certain fundamentals, certain key things that you need to have in your process. But when it's all said and done, it is what works, not what works for Joe or Bill or next door, but what is it that will work for you? How can you connect with people right where they are? How can you find out what their real pains are, their real frustration, their real fears? What is it that they truly need? And once you find what that is, and then you bring the solution in a way that they understand, they appreciate, that see that it actually works for them. And when you can do that in a simple way like that, it is amazing. They will keep coming back. You stand out, and everybody wants to be doing business with you. You're happy, they're happy, and it's all hunky-dory after that. So I'm glad about that story.
Thank you. You are absolutely right. That is the way to do it.
Amazing. Let's talk about the aspect, of the process.
Sure.
So that for those who don't even know about this, what are sort of things that they need to bear in mind when creating their own process that is tailored to their audience or to their ideal client?
So the first thing I think they need to realize is that sales is not about selling, which sounds strange, but it's really true. It's about discovery. It's about being curious and learning first, not telling. So all these things that we were taught before about you have to be persuasive and convincing and eloquent and all of those things aren't true. So if you didn't like doing it, great, because it's not what you should be doing anyway. I'm all about it. I think, let's just say, good. Now, what can we be doing? I think part of the reason why curiosity is so important, there's a couple of reasons. One, it feels so much better. It's a much more natural process.
That's right.
And it really gets you, when you can be very present and really listening to the answers that you're getting, you pick up on all the cues. You hear all of the things that they're telling you. You can see how they're telling you, if there's information they're not giving you. So you get not only a sense of whether they have a situation that you have a solution for, but whether they're a good fit
That's right.
for your company, right?
Right.
And that's a big part of it. Too many small business owners think they're just supposed to get all the business, and then they end up with really bad clients, and they're miserable, and they're not making profit. So we just have to let these things go. So that's the first thing for me, is change your mindset. Realize you can't sell anything to anybody, but people will buy from you when they need what you have to sell and they trust you.
Absolutely.
And then, right? So
Absolutely.
that's the first thing, first step. Let's let go of all of this sales,
I'll tell you a
whatever.
story, Diana. Some years ago, I got involved with a sales job, and there was this lady, very quiet, and she was, you would not expect her to be hitting those targets, but consistently. She was, somewhat an introverted young lady, and she was hitting target after target after target. And I remember I then went to her and said, tell me, what is it that you actually do? Because we are given the same script, that's what used to happen. And
Yeah.
we would go into the same meetings and we would be told the same things, but I would struggle until I went to her and she said, okay, show me what you're doing. And I showed her and said, oh, don't do that. Don't do any of that. Listen, and take notes what they're saying. They will tell you what they need. It was only after I learned that secret that I started to see an improvement in my sales. Same process. So I'm glad you're touching on that.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that story. It's so amazing when we do it this way and we realize that we're actually hitting our numbers, that we're actually getting business, but not just business, but really good business, the kind that we enjoy doing and they enjoy working with us and they see the value. And, you alluded to something earlier that I kept thinking about, that for me, if you're doing it right, you're both walking down the same road. So there's no such thing as like closing at the end, right? Because you're both going in the same direction and you're both determining, is this a good fit or not? And you both know the answer to that question. So there's no discomfort. It's very easy to eliminate objections at the end because you've hit every question, right? You've discovered everything you could possibly discover. So then when you are connecting your solution to what they've told you, they get it. They're hearing it. It makes perfect sense to them or not, right? Then you both are going, okay, no, this really isn't a thing. It's so much more, I'm going to say enjoyable, but it's also more results based,
Absolutely.
right? Because you're getting what you should be getting and you're not getting the business that isn't going to serve you.
It is so true. It will be so respectful, and people wants to do business with you. Sometimes I teach people, how many of you wants to be sold? No one raises their hand. Nobody wants to be sold, but people wants to buy.
Yes.
And they buy from people they know, like, and trust. And it is through that curious stage, when you are being curious to what is it that they truly need, and you hear, and when you serve that, they're going to become raving fans because they have connected with you. There's a saying that John Maxwell puts out that says, a lot of people communicate, but very few people connect. If you are curious and you're connecting with people, you've got the business, just like the case study we had earlier on. Let's move on to the second thing, perhaps, people who are looking into sales for the first time after discovering or taking this approach.
Yeah.
What else can they focus on?
So the next thing I think is really doing a little of their own research on their current and past customers. So all the characteristics of them. And most importantly, probably, you look at the top 20% and the bottom 20%. And what I mean by that is the 20% that you consider your best clients.
Right.
Not necessarily going to be where you're making the most money, but there's something about them that for you, they're the best. Then there's the bottom 20%, the 20%, the worst clients you've ever had. we have to identify, what is it about them? What is it about these ones up here that we just love, that when they call, we want to talk to them, that we want to go visit them, that we just love engaging with them and they love engaging with us. And then what are those characteristics of the ones at the bottom? Because they're going to be the same. There's a theme running there, right?
All right.
We really need to have a very clear sense of what that is. Because then when we're out doing, like, that's the first step of discovery, really. Because then when we're out doing discovery with prospects, we're gauging them against those two buckets.
That's right.
Okay. Right. So that's really the first part of the whole client understanding. But the second part that I think so many people miss is follow the trail backward to where they came from. Because one of the easiest things to do is repeat what works.
Right.
So if you know where this top 20% came from, and you really have to go backward, you have to do that. I had a client once who said to me, I don't want to network anymore. I hate it. I'm sick of it. It's not getting me anywhere. I said, okay, hang on a second. Let's do a little, you have this client. How'd you get them? And we walked backward to, well, this person introduced me to them. Okay. How did you meet this person? Well, I was at this event. Oh, okay. You were networking. Right? Over here, building relationships, which is what networking is for. That's not right. Selling, just building relationships. Built trust with this person. This person introduced her to this person who hired her. And it's one of her best all-time clients ever. Okay. So we want to do the backward drive to see, where are we networking? If networking is where they're ultimately coming from, but where are you networking? Who are you talking to? We also end up with people in our world who we think are good referrers who aren't.
That's right.
They refer people to us, but they're not good quality prospects. We need to know that too. Indeed. Because we don't then want to spend our time there. So it's doing all of this investigation and discovery that helps us then create our strategy. And that's part of the reason why strategy is individual, right? Because mine came from wherever mine came from. Yours came from wherever they came from. That's going to help frame how each of us is going to go about our prospecting. Mm-hmm.
What I like about that is, this is the real work. Once you have a system like this, you've discovered where they're coming from, and you can be more intentional. Go back and really focus. So it's no longer throwing mud to the wall. It's like, okay, I know where my clients hang out. I know what they need, and I know what their fears. So you begin to build that avatar, like we do here on the business show. We know exactly who comes in and who listens to these episodes on a regular basis. So when we see them, we go after them with ease. That these are my people, and those that don't belong here, I'll just gracefully let them go, because we are not for everybody.
Right.
And when you do that in your business, truly, it's a game changer. It's enjoyable.
Yes.
And it's life-giving.
Yes, exactly. And I love what you just said about, if they're not, if they don't fit the avatar, you just very politely and respectfully let them go. That's right? You can't make them into something they aren't.
No.
It doesn't work.
No, they end up sucking your energy. You end up losing focus on what you really ought to be doing, and you're focusing on putting off fire everywhere. It's a terrible experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we think we need revenue. And that's the thing I hear a lot of small business owners say. Well, I need the revenue. I got to pay the bills. I got to do this and other thing. And yes, you do. We all need revenue. But what we really need is profit. So if you look at that bottom 20%, what you're going to identify fairly quickly is you weren't making money. No matter what you were selling, you were not making money. You were either breaking even or you were losing money because you were spending way too much time there, way too much effort. Your prices were probably lower, all sorts of bad.
Indeed. Look, Diane, if I was to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would ask you the same question. One of the things that I would do pretty earlier on is linked to these 2 points we've already titled. Is really develop or learn how to investigate what my clients need. being curious. Really, even if it means taking a course on how to find what my I would do it. And then the second thing is really find a business coach, somebody who has already done it. For example, like you, who helps people, and I can work with that person to show me how to find where my sort of whale is
Yeah.
in the ocean, and then I could work with that, create that path. It
Yeah.
will help me get to the final goal very, very fast. And I advise you, if you're listening here for the first time, and maybe you are looking for what action you need to take right now, these two things I've shared with you today, you put that in place and start that journey. In no time, you will see big opportunity coming your way. They always say that small hinges swings massive doors for you. If you just put these two things there, you might be able to just to have opportunity coming your way. If you were to do it again, Diana, knowing what you know now, with what we've talked about and perhaps what we're going to talk about in a few minutes, what sort of things would you do right away?
Oh my gosh. If I was selling right now,
Right.
yep, I would do the one thing I just said was go back and take a look at past clients, over the past couple of years. And then I would sit down and create a target list and start researching that target list. I'd look at their website, LinkedIn, trade organizations, news, whatever I could find about each company that's in that target market. I would do some serious research before I ever reached out to them so that I could learn what they had going on, what they were working on, what their values were, what their initiatives are, if there's any struggles, just to really get a sense of who they are, as well as that person who is my best contact there. Can I get information about them? Can I learn anything about them that would be connective? Anything we have in common, anything that would give us something to talk about. Because then when you do outreach, companies really value it when you reach out to them with something to say to them.
That's right.
That you're not just, fishing, that you're not just saying the same thing to everyone. Because it tells them that you really did the work. You really did your due diligence, right? You did your research, and there's a reason why you're reaching out to them. You're much more likely to get the conversation.
Diana, we could stop right there, and I know our audience would have gotten so much value that is going to change everything in their business. So thank you for sharing those amazing strategies. Let's move forward because we still have some time here.
Sure.
On top of what you've already shared with us, is there maybe one or two tips you wish business owners would master, when it comes to their sales process?
I do. Thank you for asking that question. So the first one is, I really wish that they would put these different activities on their calendar, follow up, outreach, research, everything, so that they are sure that they are doing each thing. Because one of the things I find, especially with small business owners, because they have so many things going on, is they start a process, it starts creating opportunities, and then part of it falls off, like prospecting will fall off. We can't afford for prospecting or follow-up or anything to fall off. So we have to have a calendar system so that we're just doing these things. We don't have to think about them. We don't have to hold them in our head because we know when I open up my calendar in the morning, these are the things I have to do. So that's the first thing. The second thing.
Before you go to the next one,
Yeah.
Diana, I want to share how I've done this because I think there is so much value in this. As our business continues to grow, one of the things that became so apparent is I couldn't be the main person doing all these tasks. That's when we employed virtual assistants. Some of the amazing people in the Philippines, love the Philippines, by the way. And I know one of the people who will be working on this recording is in the Philippines. So if you are looking to have a system, consider having a virtual assistant that supports you in this. It is a game changer. Now, a lot of people say their system, their CRM, and all that. All that is good, but there is added advantage of having a person following up and responding to people's queries on your behalf. This has worked very well for us and many of my potential or like clients that I work with. So I want to leave that with you. Over to you,
Yeah,
Diane.
it's a great idea. It really is. You're absolutely right. We have to realize where we should be spending our time and where we shouldn't, as long as those things are getting done. I completely agree with you. Thank you for bringing that up. The second thing that I think is also critically important is when you are in that sales conversation with the prospect, you have to ask an awful lot of questions. And it's questions beyond whatever situation they might have that you can solve. It's questions about how they make decisions, how they're going to make this decision, what their timeline is, if they've ever worked with a company like yours before. And if so, what did they like? What would they change? You really want to get a sense of who they are, because that's who you're going to be working with. So there's the transactional side of it and there's the relationship side of it.
Oh, brilliant.
And there's a lot of questions that we need to ask. We get so laser focused over here that we don't go here. And when you ask the questions, including the budget question, if they don't want to answer, you got to go there with them. You got to ask them, can you help me understand why you're uncomfortable answering this question? This is part of me discovering whether we can help you or not. Because this is a relationship, and relationships require sometimes having those conversations that may feel like they're going to be a little difficult, but you got to have them. Because otherwise you're going to end up proposing and you're going to be surprised when they don't say yes, right? Because you missed something that was critically important in that process and you didn't address it.
Yes. Again, if you find that these questions really difficult, it is an indication that you need some external assistance. Because what you find difficult is influenced by your beliefs. Sometimes some of your beliefs, you don't even know they are there. They may be your blind spot. You might not just know what to do. It's time that you reach out to people like Diana, who's a business growth expert, or reach out to me or anybody that is in your industry so you get help. One of the things I've discovered as I've been doing business for some time now is, reaching out is a sign of humility. It's a sign that you are Elena, you want to develop. So go ahead and reach out. It's amazing how many people are willing to help you right where you are. And when you get that help, who knows, you'll be able to pass that on to other people. Isn't that what it's all about? Being able to pass on great information to other people, not just information, but information that works and transforms life. That's why we created the podcast here, to help people indeed. Diana, we're coming toward the end of our time together here. I know you've got some amazing resources, speaking engagement, and one of the things that I love about what you do, you've got the Business Opportunity Network. I'd love for you to talk about that, and so you can direct other people as well to things that you do. Would you talk about that for a moment?
Sure, I certainly will. Thank you for that. So the Business Opportunity Network, we call it business therapy, just, to get a feel for what it is. And it's twice a month. Meetings of people who are in different industries, so you can feel free to talk about your business in front of, without your competition being in the room. And we spend about an hour and a half. Most of that hour and a half is the members bringing up any topic they want that they're dealing with, that they're struggling with, and that they want peer input and they want professional input. And so sometimes we have several topics. Sometimes it's just one that we sit on the whole time. And the vast majority of time, whatever the topic is, relates to everybody in the room. It's just one person brought it up. And the goal is really to provide insight, ideas, tactics, what's worked for me kind of thing. And then for the last 15, 20 minutes, we do referral sharing. So we say what we're looking for. And if we're in person, I have a group that meets in person, then we can pass out sheets for sharing. If we're not, then we just do it, virtually. They connect outside of the group. That's a big part of it, is really getting to know each other. These are people who build really solid relationships over time, where they're always thinking about each other and supporting and helping each other.
Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And you can reach out to Diana. Can we have the website address, please, Diana?
Oh, sure. So if you go to helbigenterprises.com, you can see everything. You can find Business Opportunity Network, my schedule of where I'm going to be speaking, information about my book. You can, everything is there. My podcast, everything.
Incredible. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to take your business to the next level, you really want to separate yourself from everybody, learn the art of selling, which is not persuading, but being curious. Investigate what people need and give them what they need. And if you don't know how to do that, today we've just heard from Diane Helbig, who is a master. Been doing this for over the last 20 years. Reach out, get the help that you need, or reach out to our team and we'll be able to support you with that. There is no reason why you shouldn't get the ideal customer you need, because there are people out there truly looking for your service. And if you just know how to reach out to them, connect with them, and give them what they need, you will have unlimited business leads coming your way, to the point, like the first story we had earlier on, that you'll be handing those customers or clients to your friends or your, some people in your industry. We want you to succeed. Diane wants you to succeed. So let us help you do that. Final words here to fellow business owners, Diana, before you give any final words here?
Oh, sure. I'll give you my piece of advice that I give everybody. You can do anything you want to do. You just can't do it all at the same time. So pick some priorities, stick to them, put the rest of them in the parking lot. You can always cut to them later.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, our program is still out there. If you want to learn how to start, scale, and monetize your podcast, reach out to my team. I'm happy to help you out. We have seen some amazing success. Some of our students have gone on to create a tremendous podcast. For example, the Law and Order podcast here in the United Kingdom, which is doing extremely well. It's one of our students over there. And if you want to be the next winner, great podcasters reach out to us and we'll be able to help you with that. Until next time, live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly yet to come. Diana, thanks again, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys again in our next record. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukai.businessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.